Sometimes the smallest moments reveal who we truly are, and sometimes destiny hides in the quiet corners of an ordinary day. And this story reminds us that kindness still matters. Ava Morel wasn't the kind of girl people noticed when they walked into Riverstone Cafe. She moved quietly, gracefully, balancing trays, refilling coffees, offering soft smiles to strangers who barely looked up. But behind those tired eyes and that practiced smile was a heart that refused to grow cold, no matter how hard life pushed her. She worked double shifts, sometimes triple, saving every spare dollar for her younger brother's medical bills. Her dreams were tucked away like folded letters, waiting for a time when she could afford to open them. Until then, she poured her kindness into everyone she served, hoping the world would one day push some kindness back her way. But on this particular bright weekday afternoon, something extraordinary was waiting for her. The bell above the door chimed, and a woman in her 60s stepped inside, bundled in a coat too heavy for the warm weather. She looked confused, lost, scanning the menu with trembling hands. Ava approached her gently, asking if she could help. The woman whispered in broken English, frustration filling her eyes. She clutched a small French phrasebook like a lifeline. Ava recognized the look instantly, the silent embarrassment of not being able to communicate. She'd seen it 1,000 times. She placed a hand over her heart, smiled warmly, and spoke softly in fluent French. The woman gasped, relief washing over her like a wave. Suddenly, the cafe felt smaller, quieter, as the two slipped into conversation, Ava guiding her through the menu, helping her order, ensuring she felt understood, safe, welcomed. The woman's hands finally stopped trembling. But what Ava didn't notice was the man at the next table, a man with silver-streaked hair, tailored navy suit, and quiet eyes that saw more than most. He watched the entire exchange in thoughtful silence. His name was Julian Beaumont, though most people only knew him as the reclusive billionaire with a fleet of jets and a cold reputation. Except he didn't look cold now that he looked moved. Ava continued her shift like it was just another day. She wasn't expecting praise. She didn't offer help for attention. She did it because it was right. But fate had its own plans. 2 hours later, when the lunch rush faded, Ava returned to the table that belonged to the silent man in the navy suit. His plate was cleared, his coffee cup empty. But in the center of the table sat an envelope. She hesitated before picking it up, her hands trembling slightly. Inside was a handwritten note on thick cream paper. Kindness spoken in any language is remembered forever. Your heart is rare. Don't let the world shrink it. No name, no signature, only a second item, a black, glossy ticket with gold lettering. One seat. Beaumont private jet departing tonight. Paris, France guest. Ava Morel. Ava nearly dropped it. She looked around the cafe, scanning every corner, hoping the man was still there. But he was gone. Disappeared as quietly as he'd come. Her heart raced, her breathing shaky. A jet ticket? To Paris? Her dream city. The place she'd always longed to study culinary arts but could never afford. Her boss saw the ticket in her hand. His voice cut through her moment of disbelief, sharp and accusing. He demanded explanations, accusing her of trying to cheat or steal. He tore the note from her hand, refused to believe the story, and told her to leave until she could prove she wasn't lying. Ava walked home in tears, the world suddenly feeling too heavy, too cruel again. She placed the ticket on her kitchen table and stared at it for hours, wondering if it was all a mistake, a prank, something she wasn't meant to accept. But something inside her whispered, maybe kindness is finally coming back to you. Night came. She packed a small bag. When Ava arrived at the private hangar, she expected guards to stop her. Instead, a smiling flight attendant greeted her by name. Welcome aboard, Miss Morel. Mr. Beaumont is expecting you. Her breath caught. Inside the jet, the same man from the cafe stood waiting. Not smug, not arrogant, just human. He explained that the woman she helped was his mother, recently widowed, traveling alone for the first time, afraid of the world without her husband. You didn't know who she was, he said softly. You didn't know who I was. But you chose compassion anyway. People like you deserve doors opened for them. Ava's eyes filled with tears. Julian then revealed the real surprise. The ticket wasn't just for a trip. It was for her full scholarship to study at one of the most prestigious culinary schools in Paris. her dream she'd buried to take care of her family. All because she helped a frightened woman speak her own language. Ava cried into her hands, overwhelmed. The jet lights glowed softly around her, and Paris felt suddenly closer than ever, not just in miles, but in possibility. Julian placed the original note in her hand. "Kindness still matters," he whispered, "and the world needs more people like you." As the jet soared into the sky, Ava pressed her forehead to the window, watching the city lights shrink below. For the first time in years, she felt hope rising, not like a whisper, but like a sunrise.